gets a cut, and we get to run this place.
We all have our favorite superheroes and fascinate about them a lot, even while knowing it's all fiction. But what if we have superheroes living along with us, sharing space with us in the real world? If you're someone who loves to watch a barely believable alternative world where some humans have superpowers on screen, then your must-watch movie is Code 8. Written and directed by Jeff Chan, a sensational science fiction action film is a feature-length version of the short film of the same, which came out around 2016. The movie has 2 parts. The first part was released during the year of 2019. It discusses the public getting to know about some of the people having superhuman abilities called the Powers. They were initially popular in the workforce, but were marginalized during the beginning of the Third Industrial Revolution. They were kept under close watch by the government and passed a law where they were forced to register their abilities. Meanwhile, a debate on a power ban is taking place as the opportunity for normal humans is decreasing. Psych is an addictive drug obtained from the spinal fluid of the trafficked powers by a crime syndicate called Trust. Drone-deployed robots called the Guardians and facial recognition software were used to keep an eye over the power-related crime across the city. Have you heard of electrokinetic or maybe cryokinetic? Around the corner, our hero, a construction worker, Connor Reed, Robbie Amell, has the ability of electrokinetic medicine to look after his sick mother. Mary, who is a cryokinetic, the police stops his work and his abilities were forbidden by the government. To support the treatment cost for his ailing mother, he decides to work along with the gangster Garrett, a telekinetic, and his boss Marcus Sutcliffe, who has the ability to read minds. The first job of this crew turns out to be a robbery where Connor is introduced to Marcus and his evident friend Nia. The next day, the robbery site was investigated by officers Davis and Park, and found that electricity was used in suspect Connor. Meanwhile, to execute a chain of crimes, Garrett helps Connor to sharpen his powers in order to get enough money from Marcus. Now the crew grows bigger with Freddy, a mute brawn, and Maddie, a cryokinetic. Marcus informs the next crime of the crew is to rob the bank as he is in debt to pay the trust. Connor, with his ability, breaks the vault, but unfortunately, only a tenth of the money is present. On their way back, the Guardians try to arrest them because they escape as Connor hunts down the drone. Marcus is deeply unsatisfied knowing this Copperhead, a Trust member, attempts to kill for not paying his debt back, and he is protected by his bodyguard Rhino, whose skin is bulletproof. And Connor finally kills her. During this, Connor gets a wound, and Nia now reveals herself as healer and heals his wound. Nia also expresses that she is just helping Marcus to ease his psyche addiction and to pay the debt of her imprisoned father. Davis and Park now bring Connor in for investigation, where they inform him that they will soon burn down Psyche's worth $4 million. Soon, Davis interrupts and provokes him by insulting his father, but Park cuts him loose due to insufficiency of evidence. Connor meets Garrett after the investigation and proposes the idea of robbing the Psyche transport confiscated by police, which is worth around $10 million. Accordingly, the crew blocks the transport in a no-fly zone to prevent the backup drones carrying Guardians, where Marcus's men lying in wait kill Maddie and Freddy lethally wounded. For the moment, Rhino flees away with drugs and betrays them. Connor blames Garrett that it is all his fault as he demands a huge amount from Marcus. They once again team up together to kill Rhino and Marcus, and Connor contacts Park and informs about Marcus's hideout, where they found him dead. Garrett takes hold of Psyche and pushes Connor to get Nia. She appeals to Connor that her ability forced her to take the disease onto herself, but not bothered, he takes her to his mom at gunpoint, but seeing the amount of pain she undergoes, he changes his mind, and Mary dies soon after. He hands over Nia his truck and asks her to leave the city, and submits the Psyche to Weasley Combo, where it is taken in for trade in Lincoln City. Nia visits her father in the prison, and Connor visits his mother's grave before his flight. The part when comes to the end as the government bans the use of powers in the city, and Officer Park being awarded by an award. Moving beyond and going the extra mile and having the courage not to just repeat the first one is when the sequel of Code 8 Part 2 was released in the year 2024. The movie begins with a timeline of 5 years after the following events took place in Code 8 Part 1, where the government is conducting a tech program where a replacement for the Guardians with a non-lethal companion called K9 was introduced, which looks similar to robotic dogs. Sergeant Kingston has been appointed as the head of this project, and the city felt much safer now. Connor, just out of prison, works as a janitor at a youth community center run by Mina. Keeps his head down, leaving behind the past. Meanwhile, Garrett has taken control of dealing with the psyche drug business in an apartment complex called Towers, where he pays the Powers to extract psyche drug from their spinal fluid. The key role is played by Pavani, who lives along with her elder brother Tarek in poverty. Tarek needs money to support her education and approaches Garrett and shows off his ability to camouflage, but Garrett turns him down. Out of despair, Tarek plans to steal money on his own, but ends up being caught by Sergeant Kingston and his unit. He tries to escape, but gets covered by the canine companion and gets killed by injecting an overdose of psyche drug. The canine soon turns towards Pavani, who is witnessing her brother getting killed. She screams out, and due to her superhuman ability, which leads to the malfunctioning of the canine, and thus, she escapes from there. Soon, she was found by Connor and Mayna, where they helped her stay away from the government. Connor provides shelter to her in his apartment, but the police traces them and somehow they manage to escape. Connor seeks help from Garrett, where he came forward to help him, where he demanded to delete Pavani's memory on his brother getting killed. Knowing that it's the only way she could survive, Connor agrees to this deal, and Garrett also reveals the secret deal between him and Sergeant Kingston. They took her to a mind wiper, but Connor gets furious as he realizes that they were deleting every single memory of her brother, and this wasn't the deal actually. He fights back to break her free. Mina sees eye to eye to escort Connor and Pavani safely from the city, but is ambushed by Garrett. During a tense deadlock between Garrett and Connor, Sergeant Kingston sends his unit and commands to kill everyone on the site. In order to escape Connor, Garrett, and Pavani, Mina sacrifices herself. Now comes into the action Officer Davis, who tracks down the crime of Sergeant Kingston and found the only way to expose him is to get into his house and steal the canine unit, which holds the memory of Tarek's murder. Pretending as fake officers, Garrett and Connor fools Kingston's wife Stephanie and steals the canine. Soon, along with Pavani, the trio escapes to the towers, but Garrett wants to break a new deal, keeping canine as in leverage, and betrays Connor once again. Around the corner, a surprise attack was given by Kingston and his unit. Taking this as a chance, Connor and Pavani manage to escape as Garrett and his crew fight against them. A lone canine traces Connor and Pavani, but she manages to unlock her full potential and exposes the recordings from Kingston's personnel canine and brings justice for his brother's death. The sequel comes to an end, showing the scenarios of 3 months later where Kingston was arrested, Garrett is in prison. As an honor for Mina, Connor runs the youth community center along with Pavani. Code 8 is well crafted without any jaw-dropping special effects and funky stuff, a dark dystopia near alternate future as its background. It's a very decent movie to watch and enjoy. Can you spot a bell icon? Please subscribe for more such interesting movie updates. Also, like, share, and don't forget to comment below your thoughts. See you all next time.